Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Brajajana Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Prabhupada 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 Srila Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada 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 Srila Prabhupada Jaya Lalita Vishaka Jaya Radhe Shyam Lalita Vishaka Jaya Radhe Shyam Jaya Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Jaya Krishna Balaram Nitya Gaura Haribo 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 Nitya Gaura Haribo Nitya Gaura Haribo 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 Nitya Gaura Haribo Jai Nitya Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Now we pay obeisances. Jai Vishnu Pada Paramahamsa Parivraja Acharya Stotra Sata His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktisiddhānta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki ISKCON BBD Founder Srila Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Prem se kho Shri Kṛṣṇa Caitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Shri Shri Radha Kṛṣṇa Gopa Gopinath Shyama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhana Ki Yamuna Mai Ki Vrindavan Dham Ki Ganga Mai Ki Yamuna Mai Mayapur Dham Ki Tulsi Maharani Ki Bhakti Devi Ki Samveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Harinam Sankirtan Yagya Ki All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Hare Krishna, dear assembled Vaishnavas. Today we were reading from Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is, and chapter is 9, entitled The Most Confidential Knowledge, The Most Confidential Knowledge, and the text is 34, which is the last text for this chapter. So we'll read Sanskrit and we'll recite together. Man-manā bhava mad-bhakto, mad-yājī mam namaskuru, mam evaiṣyasi yuktvaivam, ātmānam mat-parāyaṇaḥ. Man-manā bhava mad-bhakto, mad-yājī mam namaskuru, mam evaiṣyasi yuktvaivam, ātmānam mat-parāyaṇaḥ. Man-manā bhava mad-bhakto, mad-yājī mam namaskuru, mam evaiṣyasi yuktvaivam, ātmānam mat-parāyaṇaḥ. Please chant. Man-manā bhava mad-bhakto, mad-yājī mam namaskuru, eṣyasi yuktvaivam. Man-manā bhava mad-bhakto, mad-yājī mam namaskuru, mam evaiṣyasi yuktvaivam, ātmānam mat-parāyaṇaḥ. Man-manā bhava mad-bhakto, mad-yājī mam namaskuru, mam evaiṣyasi yuktvaivam, ātmānam mat-parāyaṇaḥ. Man-manā bhava mad-bhakto, namaskuru, mam evaiṣyasi yuktvaivam, ātmānam. Man-manā bhava mad-bhakto, mad-yājī mam namaskuru, mam evaiṣyasi yuktvaivam, ātmānam mat-parāyaṇaḥ. Man-manā bhava mad-bhakto, mad-yājī mam namaskuru, yuktvaivam, ātmānam mat-parāyaṇaḥ. Okay. Man-manā bhava mad-bhakto, mad-yājī mam namaskuru, mam evaiṣyasi yuktvaivam, ātmānam mat-parāyaṇaḥ. So word for word, translation. Mat-manāḥ, always thinking of me. Bhava, become. Mat, my. Bhaktaḥ, mat, my. Mat, my. Yājī, worshipper. Mam, unto me. Namaskuru, offer obeisances. Mam, unto me. Evam, completely. eṣyasi, you will come. Yuktvā, being absorbed. Evam, thus. ātmānam, your soul. mad-parāyaṇaḥ, devoted to me. So I think I skipped one word, bhaktaḥ, devotee. Yeah, sorry for that. Translation, engage your minds always in thinking of me. Become my devotee. Offer obeisances to me and worship me. Being completely absorbed in me, surely you will come to me. Please repeat after me. Engage your mind, always thinking of me. Become my devotee. Offer obeisances to me and worship me. Being completely absorbed in me, surely you will come to me. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktisiddhānta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. In this verse, it is clearly indicated that Kṛṣṇa consciousness is the only means of being delivered from the clutches of this contaminated material world. Sometimes unscrupulous commentators distort the meaning of what is clearly stated here, that all devotional service should be offered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Kṛṣṇa. Unfortunately, unscrupulous commentators divert the mind of the reader to that which is not at all feasible. Such commentators do not know that there is no difference between Kṛṣṇa's mind and Kṛṣṇa. Kṛṣṇa is not an ordinary human being. He is absolute truth. His body, his mind, and he himself are one and absolute. It is stated in the Kūrma Purāṇa, as it is quoted by Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Gosvāmī in his Anubhashya comments on Caitanya-caritāmṛta, 5th chapter, Ādi-līlā, verses 41-48. Deha-dehi-vibhedo yam neishvare vidyate kvachit. This means that there is no difference in Kṛṣṇa, the Supreme Lord, between himself and his body. But because the commentators do not know the science of Kṛṣṇa, they hide Kṛṣṇa and divide his personality from his mind or from his body. Although this is sheer ignorance of the science of Kṛṣṇa, some men take profit out of misleading people. There are some who are demonic. They also think of Kṛṣṇa, but enviously, just like King Kamsa, Kṛṣṇa's uncle. He was also thinking of Kṛṣṇa always, but he thought of Kṛṣṇa as his enemy. He was always in anxiety, wondering when Kṛṣṇa would come to kill him. That kind of thinking will not help us. One should be thinking of Kṛṣṇa in devotional love. That is bhakti. One should cultivate the knowledge of Kṛṣṇa continuously. What is that favorable cultivation? It is to learn from a bona fide teacher. Kṛṣṇa is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and we have several times explained that his body is not material, but is eternal, blissful knowledge. This kind of talk about Kṛṣṇa will help one become a devotee. Understanding Kṛṣṇa otherwise, from the wrong source, will prove fruitless. One should therefore engage his mind in eternal form of the primal form of Kṛṣṇa, with conviction in his heart that Kṛṣṇa is the supreme. He should engage himself in worship. There are hundreds of thousands of temples in India for the worship of Kṛṣṇa, and devotional service is practiced there. When such practice is made, one has to offer obeisances to Kṛṣṇa. One should lower his head before the deity and engage his mind, his body, his activities, everything that will make one fully absorbed in Kṛṣṇa without deviation. This will help one transfer to Kṛṣṇa Loka. One should not be deviated by unscrupulous commentators. One must engage in the 9 different processes of devotional service, beginning with hearing and chanting about Kṛṣṇa. Pure devotional service is the highest achievement of human society. The 7th and 8th chapters of Bhagavad Gita have explained pure devotional service to the Lord that is free from speculative knowledge, mystic yoga, and fruitive activities. Those who are not purely sanctified may be attracted by different features of the Lord, like the impersonal Brahmajyoti and localized Paramatma. But a pure devotee directly takes to the service of the Supreme Lord. There is a beautiful poem about Kṛṣṇa in which it is clearly stated that any person who is engaged in the worship of demigods is most unintelligent and cannot achieve at any time the supreme award of Kṛṣṇa. The devotee in the beginning may sometimes fall from the standard, but still he should be considered superior to all other philosophers and yogis. One who always engages in Kṛṣṇa consciousness should be understood to be a perfectly saintly person. His accidental, non-devotional activities will diminish, and he will soon be situated, without any doubt, in complete perfection. The pure devotee has no actual chance to fall down, because the Supreme Godhead personally takes care of his pure devotees. Therefore, the intelligent person should take directly to the process of Kṛṣṇa consciousness and happily live in this material world. He will eventually receive the supreme award of Kṛṣṇa. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports to the 9th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita in the matter of the most confidential knowledge. We'll read the verse again. Engage your mind always in thinking of me. Become my devotee. Offer obeisances to me and worship me. Being completely absorbed in me, surely you will come to me. Om Ajnana-timirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Caitanya Manobishtam Staptitam yena Bhutale Svayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Pada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Shri Kṛṣṇa Caitanya Devam Shri Radha Kṛṣṇa Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha E Kṛṣṇa Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavanishvari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Kṛṣṇa Caitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadatara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So as we mentioned, this is the last verse of of chapter 9, where Kṛṣṇa discloses his topmost secrets. Yeah? So this is like a conclusion of not a conclusion, but the essence of that secret. Especially if you know that this specific message is repeated also again in Bhagavad Gita later, And so it is. It's said that middle 6 chapters of Bhagavad Gita are like the core. So this 9 and 10 is a core of those middle chapters, and this verse is actually the core of the Bhagavad Gita. So we are very fortunate today to read this verse, and we can talk about that. And Prabhupada has written a very beautiful long purport of this. So when I read the purport, when I read this verse, I can see how this verse actually includes all the Vedas, all the Vedic knowledge. Because, why am I saying this? It is described that if we summarize Vedas, everything that's written in the Vedas, there are only 3 topics, which is Kṛṣṇa, devotional service, and prema. These are 3 topics of all the Vedas. It's also known as Sambandha, Abhideya, Prayojanam. Yeah? So that's Kṛṣṇa, devotional service, and prema. Kṛṣṇa refers to Sambandha, when we actually understand what is our relationship and position with everything around and with Kṛṣṇa. So that's why it's said here, always think of me. Kṛṣṇa says of me, so we always think of Kṛṣṇa. So when we always think of Kṛṣṇa, then we will understand our position, Kṛṣṇa's position, and surrounding position. And from that analysis, we will conclude how Kṛṣṇa is Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then we will become devotee. Yeah? So that's the next stage, that devotional service. Because what devotee does? Devotee performs devotional service. So there comes in Abhideya. So it said, my devotee, you become my devotee, you offer obeisances to me, you worship me. So this is a devotional service. That's the second topic of Vedas. And then the third one is a prayojana. So what is prayojana? It's a goal. And a goal is prema bhakti, returning to Kṛṣṇa. So how do you return to Kṛṣṇa? What took us away from Kṛṣṇa? Because we wanted to love other things. Yeah? We wanted to project our inherited love to other things. So to return back to Kṛṣṇa is very easy. We just need to start to love him purely. And the pure love is called prema. And that's why it said here, being completely absorbed in me, you surely will come to me. So there is no other way how to be completely absorbed in Kṛṣṇa except prema. Yeah? So only somebody who has prema can be fully absorbed in Kṛṣṇa, because it's described by our acharyas that at every state of devotional service, something will penetrate our mind to greater or lesser degree. But only in prema, our Kṛṣṇa consciousness is so dense and so saturated that nothing can get through. Nothing can penetrate, like the hard wall. There can nothing go through. Not even water can seep, not air could come through. So this kind of state of mind in Kṛṣṇa consciousness one should attain. And that's, in that way, Kṛṣṇa says, you will surely come to me. And also in 18th chapter, when he repeats this verse, he says that you will come to me, to have no doubt, because you are very dear to me, he's saying. And then the next verse, just he's emphasizing again, you just surrender and don't doubt of anything. But then is to explain that Arjuna still is asking, are you promising here these all things? But Arjuna says, we know that in Mathura, people, they make all these false promises and they never fulfill them. And you are from Mathura, so maybe this also is your false promise. And Kṛṣṇa knows that Arjuna's mind and maybe some other mind is like this. That's why another place in Bhagavad Gita, he is backing himself up with, and that saint said that, and that acharya said this, and it's written in Vedas. But now it is his own promise. So then how he is backing himself up now? That he is saying, if you really are fully absorbed in me, you'll come to me. So how is this promise, how he is saying, how he is backing himself up? He's saying that because you are very dear to me, and people from Mathura will never betray those who are dear. So he's saying that you are very dear to me. So it's described that kind of devotee, like now we can think of Krishna. Krishna says, you think of me. So now we can try to think of him. Different qualities of Krishna is described in Nectar of Devotion. There are 64 qualities of Krishna. So one of those qualities is that Krishna is partial to his devotees. So that's why it's also said here, some devotee like this who is being completely absorbed in me, the devotee will surely come to me. Because with such love, the person can purchase Krishna. It said that this kind of devotee, pure devotee, he is fully absorbed for Krishna, in thoughts of Krishna, in activities with minds and words and body, he will surely come to me. Like earlier in Bhagavad Gita, it was described that there are 4 types of people who come to Krishna with kind of little motive to satisfy some material needs, like somebody wants money, or someone has some distress, or somebody is inquisitive, curious, or somebody is searching for some absolute truth. But none of them have that pure love or attraction to Krishna. But Krishna says that these devotees who are like that, mixed, a little bit mixed with something, they are still very, very dear to me. They are very dear to me. Then from all those devotees, actually the one who is searching for absolute truth, Krishna is saying, this type of devotee is as dear to me as my own life. But the devotee has no motivation, who is like here, being completely absorbed in Krishna, in love. So how is that? How dear is that to Krishna? That one is more dear to Krishna than his own life. More dear to Krishna than his own life. So that's why he will take him to him. That's why he said, because you are more dear to me than my own life, I will not break my promise by keeping you with me. But us, what do we have to do? We need to become so dear to Krishna. By, Prabhupada says here, by not deviating our mind to different theories, not even deviating our mind to different other practices which may seem to help, but all we have to do is to engage in Navavida Bhakti, starting from hearing. And this hearing is actually thinking of Krishna. This hearing produces the remembering of Krishna. And that hearing will produce talking about Krishna and chanting Krishna's holy name. And while chanting Krishna's holy name, any other activity of Navavida Bhakti we perform, then it becomes perfect. That's why it says that all 9 activities of Bhakti Yoga should be always accompanied by the holy name, by chanting of the holy name. And in that way, we can always think of Krishna, always vibrating that holy name in our mouth, in our mind, that no one can stop us. Sometimes we may not be able to hold the bead back. Sometimes we are in some place, then we cannot chant loud kirtan. Sometimes we may not use our tongue for chanting. When? When we eat. We chew. We can't chant when we chew prasad. No? But even while chewing prasad, we can chant in our mind. So in that way, we will never lose the touch of Krishna. Even, it's said here, in the beginning, we may accidentally kind of not being on that thinking path, we may deviate somehow. But these kind of non-devotional activities will diminish. Our mind can go somewhere. But this, if we keep the holy name in our heart, in our mind, these type of devotional activities, non-devotional activities, will eventually diminish. How? Because by engaging in Bhakti Yoga, our senses and minds are purified. And when it gets more and more purified, it's less and less affected by external energy. The way how I said, once we reach the prema, which is a culmination of the practice of bhakti. So then nothing will be able to penetrate. So what we have to do, we need to be determined. And we need to understand that the material energy is very powerful. And it's going to try to penetrate our hearts and our mind. So we have to tolerate and persevere. And in that way, we will be able to be steady. And when that attraction to Kṛṣṇa becomes very strong, then these type of small things, it will be just like the mosquitoes. You know, they just come, but you just very easily can shoo them away. You're not going to be entertained by those mosquito-like thoughts. Yeah? So in that way, we think of Kṛṣṇa while always chanting the holy name. And this is what Prabhupada also says in that 18th chapter, where he repeats this verse, when Kṛṣṇa repeats this verse again. Yeah, he's saying, actually, Prabhupada very much emphasizes how we have to fix our mind on the form of Kṛṣṇa. And especially here he will speak about while chanting the holy name. Yeah. So I think it will be very useful if we read that purport again, because this is the same actually message, the same verse. And by the time you will reach that 18th chapter, you will all forget what we have read today. So the speaker on that day won't mind that I read the purport now. So the purport is, the most confidential part of knowledge is that one should become a pure devotee of Kṛṣṇa and always think of him and act for him. Yeah? So what is confidential? It's to become who? Pure devotee of Kṛṣṇa. Yeah? So here it said, the most confidential part of knowledge is that one should become a pure devotee of Kṛṣṇa. This is most confidential part. We have to become pure devotee of Kṛṣṇa. And this is 65, verse 65. But in 64, Kṛṣṇa is now starting the topic. Sarva guyatamam. I am giving to you now the most confidential message. Again, and he's using this word, again, bhuyaha. Sarva guyatamam bhuyaha. Again. Why is he saying again? Because in this 9th chapter, in the very beginning, he says, Raja Vidyam, Raja Guyam, I'm giving you the topmost knowledge, and this is the most secret. Yeah? Like all of us have some kind of secret. Some we keep the secret to ourselves, we don't tell anybody. Yeah? Some we keep some secret and we tell to close friend or to wife or to some very close person. Some we have secret and we put on a Facebook. Yeah? So there are different type of secrets. Kṛṣṇa also has secret. And he puts it in a book and distributes all around the world. That is his secret. But why it is such a secret? How is it a secret and it's distributed all over the world? Because this secret, it's not going to be revealed to everyone. Because Kṛṣṇa says, I'm not going to manifest it to all. Someone may read this, but not even take it to the heart. But the sincere person, even in a neophyte stage, will take this to the heart and will make this one's life's ultimate goal. To do what? To become what? To become who? Pure devotee. And then, do what? Always think of him and act for him. One should not become official meditator. So it should not be just for some kind of either show, or even if it's not show, but like thinking, oh, now I've become a good person. I'm going every day to temple. I'm doing this. But no, it's nothing going, not going, good person, bad person. It is said, actually, we should not be pious and we should not be also impious. We should raise above material dualities, because pious, impious, it is in a material level. You're still calculating how good you are, how bad you are. But Prabhupada says what? In this material world, everything is bad. Everything is bad. This good and bad is just a mental concoction. For somebody this is bad, for somebody this is good. But maybe the worst thing actually will turn out good. that really what is good is to become a pure devotee and act for Kṛṣṇa, and how it is from the heart to feel for it. Because what means thinking of Kṛṣṇa? It's not like you take a book and now you're saying, okay, let me think a little bit. No, it is not like that. Thinking here is actually means feeling and willing. It's activity of a purified mind, which means thinking, feeling, and then willing. And when you think like this so much about Kṛṣṇa and you feel for him, then you start wanting him. And you will have a will, you will want Kṛṣṇa. You will want Kṛṣṇa. And then you will yearn to meet him, to attain his lotus feet, to come close to Kṛṣṇa. That's what you will want. What will be result after thinking of Kṛṣṇa? That's why it said, you think of Kṛṣṇa and then you become my devotee. So first you will think of Kṛṣṇa, but in a feeling way, no? And then you will become devotee because of the feeling. There is one pastime. It is a princess. It's in a pastime from the pastime. Princess of the king of Jagannath Puri. She has everything. She is a princess, of the daughter of a king. And she wants to give something to Jagannath. Some gift. She wants to give a gift to Jagannath. So then she's thinking what gift she can give. He has already everything. All I have actually is coming from Jagannath to me. So what I can give to Jagannath? So she's contemplating like this and never giving up. So then one panda visiting their palace. So then she said, okay, now it's my chance. I have to give something to Jagannath. So she hands to that panda one beautiful box, bedecked with jewels, golden box. And he said, this is my gift to Jagannath. Please give it to him. And he's thinking, I have to open and see. I'm a pujari. I have to see what is in there. And then he only imagining some jewels and cloth, some gold and some costly cloth. And he's opening. His only papers are there. Oh no, there are some cloth. He's opening. Nothing. It's just so many clothes packing. And inside there is a paper. And he's looking at this paper. He said, what is this gift? He throws. It's some kind of mistake or what? Then Jagannath comes to him at night. He says, where is my gift? Why did you throw it? You give me my gift. So he goes, he searches the paper and it's written there. Finally, then he only opens and it's written. And the princess has written to Jagannath. She says, I want to give you a gift. But what can I give you? Because you already have everything. In fact, all what I have, it is from you. But one thing you don't have. One thing, it's what I'm keeping to myself. It is my mind. So now I want to give you my mind. Please take my mind. And when the pujari read that, he understood what a mistake he made by throwing out this little so-called insignificant paper. So we can see that bhakti is not to do with externals in general, but there are also some external symptoms that will appear. But it's not to do with externals in a sense that we want to impress somebody by doing some kind of bhakti activities. And it will creep in that idea and desire to impress. So what shall we do? We should just stop everything? No, we should continue, because by engaging in bhakti yoga, as we know, there is no necessity of previous qualification, but the bhakti yoga itself will purify us. Yeah? That's why the next verse after 1865, it's, don't worry. Kṛṣṇa says, just give it up all, because someone may doubt, how is it that I will now start thinking of you only, will surrender, but I'm so impure. I have full of arnarthas and everything. Maybe I should first try a little bit of karma yoga, try a little bit of jnana yoga, and this yoga, that yoga, to purify myself, and then, with a pure mind, I can come to you. Kṛṣṇa says, forget about all this, just sarva dharma parityaja mamekam sharana, just forget about all this. When you come to me, all your sins I take. You just don't worry, you come. That was Krishna saying. Yeah? And then Prabhupada writes more. So this is thinking of Krishna, not the official meditator. One should actually give one's mind, one's heart to Krishna, because that's the only thing he doesn't have. Everything else he has. Yeah? But then we know in the other verse where Krishna says, offer me flower, water, then Prabhupada writes, no? We can say, already Krishna everything has, why do I need to bother offering things? No? But this is not, if we really have that heart and mind for Krishna, then we want to offer him all. We will grow the flowers in the field and offer him millions of flowers. And if we don't have a field, we will grow one flower on a balcony. If we don't have a balcony, we will go and ask someone who has a flower in a balcony. Yeah? We will try really hard to actually offer something very substantial, very high class and good quality. And this is how that effort to get that ingredient to offer to Krishna, this is how our mind will be absorbed. So this mind absorption is not just sitting and thinking, okay, yeah, now let me absorb my mind. Because jiva is active. These senses are active, and even if not the gross senses, the spiritual senses are active. So in that way, we have to be actively thinking of Krishna, endeavoring, giving some endeavor, putting some endeavor to actually think of him and feel for him and do something for him. Yeah? Like Prabhupada says, one should act for him. So when our mind is fully absorbed in the spiritual realm, then we can sit and be inactive with this body, because we will be active in a spiritual realm. But when we are not in a spiritual realm yet, and we don't know what is our body there, what are our activities there, what are our service there, then we perform this on this earth with this body devotional service. And this is a definition by Rupa Goswami of sadhana bhakti, that the sadhana bhakti is performed with these senses, the gross senses. This is what sadhana bhakti is performed with this mind which we have now, with this body which we have now. We perform devotional service. And this is a unique quality of bhakti yoga, that even someone in this gross state of life can engage in pure devotional service, which consists of 9 processes of bhakti. So this is an amazing gift that Krishna has given to us. Then Prabhupada writes in 1865, he says, life should be so molded that one will always have the chance to think of Krishna. So if we have a complaint, yeah, I would think of Krishna always, but right now I cannot, because I have this, I have that, and I have this, and I have that. Then Prabhupada says, then you don't do this, and that. You mold your life in such a way that all these obstacles are not coming in front of you. They are not confronting you. One should always act in such a way that all his daily activities are in connection with Krishna. So if there is some activities that you cannot connect to Krishna, either you try to connect to Krishna or you don't do that activity. Because our Acharya is telling us that we should always act in Krishna or mold our life in such a way. Prabhupada says here, he should arrange his life in such a way that throughout the 24 hours, he cannot but think of Krishna. Whichever way. One is brahmachari, one is grihastha, one is sannyasi. Everyone should always, 24 hours, think of Krishna. And it's amazing how this bhakti yoga can be applied by everyone, even by a child, even by a dog. He can also follow Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and hear the holy name and dance in kirtan and chant, and then eat Mahaprasad. What to speak of someone will say, oh, but I'm grihastha, or but I'm this, but I'm that. But actually, grihastha ashram is very amazing, because you can have, like we see, there is a temple here we have, and there are rooms where brahmacharis and sannyasis live. So what grihastha not have a building where to stay, also have. So that is same temple, and one small room is for a man to stay, who is like a servant. So concept is the same. Yeah? So if every grihastha opens a temple in their house, it is amazing practice. Then everything in their house becomes 24-hour Krishna conscious thinking of Krishna. This is what Bhaktivinoda instructs. This is what Bhaktivinoda Thakur also shows in his life how to do. Yeah. So it's a wonderful possibility for everybody engaged in this path full of nectar. Yeah? Like we hear that it seems like these difficult paths like jnana and karma are something really great to achieve because it's so difficult to endeavor. And what is this bhakti? You just think something, you just chant, you offer flower. It is too easy. So how can we actually hope to obtain something great by such an easy path? But why there is a hope, and not just hope, there is assurance, because that bhakti develops attraction in a heart. And that attraction is what Krishna wants. So again, I'm repeating that thinking of Krishna means to develop that attraction. And the Lord's promise is that anyone who is in such a pure consciousness will certainly return to the abode of Krishna, where he will be engaged in the association of Krishna face to face. This most confidential part of knowledge is spoken to Arjuna because he is very dear to Krishna. And everyone who follows the path of Arjuna can become a dear friend to Krishna and obtain the same perfection. What perfection? Associate with Krishna face to face. Yes. So here, very interesting point, which we have to fix in our mind. This is what Srila Prabhupada wants from us, and this is what he's giving to us, and we should follow. Prabhupada says, listen carefully, these words stress that one should concentrate his mind upon Krishna. One should concentrate his mind upon Krishna. The very form with two hands carrying flute, the bluish boy with beautiful face and a peacock feathers in his hair. Which form we have to concentrate mind on? With two-handed, but what two-handed? Because there are many two-handed forms. Huh? And what is Shamsundar doing? Having flute, then, well, what else he has? Huh? Peacock feathers, beautiful face, bluish color. Then, there are descriptions of Krishna found in Brahma Samhita and other literatures. And Prabhupada says, now, very important, one should fix his mind on this original form of Godhead, Krishna, and one should not even divert his attention to other forms of the Lord. Yeah? So Prabhupada says here that not just any kind of form. No, you think of Krishna with a flute. This form you think of. Don't divert your mind. One should not even divert his attention to other forms of the Lord. The Lord has multiple forms, Vishnu, Narayan, Rama, Varaha. But pure devotee should concentrate his mind on the form that was present before Arjuna. So here we could think that Arjuna was having a form with Krishna with his flute in front of him, no? At that time. Yeah, because that's what it was. After Virat Rupa, Arjuna asked, please show me your original form. So Krishna must have with a flute, because Prabhupada described this flute, peacock feather. In Dwarka, he is not walking with flute. Concentration of the mind on the form of Krishna constitutes the most confidential part of knowledge. And this is disclosed to Arjuna, because Arjuna is most dear friend of Krishna. Yeah? So this we now learned Krishna's secret. And Krishna's secret is that if you become my pure devotee, I will become attracted to you and I will take you to me. Yeah, this is very confidential. Yeah, very confidential. So that's why we need to understand these three topics of Vedas, which is Krishna, devotional service, and prema. Yeah? Sambandha, abhideya, and prayojana. And all these three are equally important. Sometimes we want to skip one or the other. No? Sometimes some may want to skip sambandha, not understanding fully that I am not this body, that this material, I'm not part of this material world, that Kṛṣṇa is in a spiritual body and not like me in this material body. This is basic things of sambandha. If we not take this sambandha and we not have faith in it, then it's no possibility to actually make any progress for jiva. Yeah, this is very important. And it's not just some kind of basic knowledge. It is this knowledge actually goes throughout the life of a devotee. And somebody wants to neglect prayojana. We think, what is this prema? No, don't be such a sahaja, prema. Why you talk about prema? Just first learn the shloka here, this one, read Bhagavad Gita. But what is Bhagavad Gita? Look what Bhagavad Gita is telling us. This is topmost Krishna's secret, which is about prema. No? What else can bite Krishna if not prema bhakti? Only prema bhakti. So how can we neglect that prayojana? How can we say it is something not for us? It is for us. Krishna repeats it twice. It is for us. For me, for you, for everybody. Very seriously. Very seriously. Prabhupada says, you just mold your life that you can always think of Krishna. So what we learn, what does it mean thinking of Krishna? To develop prema. So Srila Prabhupada says, you mold your life that you can develop prema. This is our task. And this is our challenge. This is our surrender. This is what means surrender. Give up everything that stands on your way. Everything. And the first thing to give up is my mind. Because my mind will tell us that I don't need this and I need that. No? So we start from internal change. Because sometimes we think, I'll give up this, first thing I'll give up, waking up in Mangalarti. No? Because I'm such a Raganuga Bhakta, I don't need to wake up. Because anyway, I can be up until late and this doesn't matter, all these rules and regulations. No. The first thing is you say, oh mind, what kind of devotee you are. My mind. Yeah. So that is not to neglect all these. And what to speak of neglecting abhideya? This hard practice, the fight against Maya. We have to declare the fight against Maya. And this is abhideya. And a soldier sometimes can even be on the verge of death to attain the goal. But that doesn't scare the soldier. And why it doesn't scare the soldier? Because Kṛṣṇa here is saying, you just don't worry. Don't worry. And that's why Prabhupada writes here. The pure devotee has no actual chance to fall down because the Supreme Godhead personally takes care of his pure devotees. So pure devotee only does, he gives mind to Kṛṣṇa. He molds that his life is 24 hours for Kṛṣṇa. And he says, look Maya, look at me now. I am with Kṛṣṇa. And Kṛṣṇa will protect you. So thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, pure devotional service ki jai, Sambandha Abhideya Prayojana ki jai. If anybody has any comments, corrections, or suggestions, please. I think there's a mic or something. Sorry.
Thank you, Masaji, for the inspiring lecture. I would just like to ask, you started talking about it because right now I'm in the Holy Dham and in good association also of senior God brothers, but still I feel that my mind is not so steady, especially in chanting the holy name. Maybe you can give some more practical advice how to fix that.
Yeah. I will read you something which is from Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And it is, I think, very important because many times devotees ask this question. Let me just check where is... it's here, phone. Sorry? No, it's another. It is not a bhajan. Here Bhaktivinoda Thakur speaks about those who practice bhakti for long time. For those who, because many times devotees ask in class question, I've been practicing bhakti for a long time, 20 years, 30 years, so many years, but still I feel I not have full taste. No? So you have not been practicing for 30 years. No? So then you understand that you are not the only one with this problem. Even devotees in this much years of practice ask this question. And it's amazing statement. Bhaktivinoda says, if a person, so even in those days, means these type of people were there. If a person, even after performing all the activities of bhakti for a long time, if that person does not have deep attachment to the goal, he cannot attain prema. So means that we have not yet developed that faith of the goal, that this is our goal and nothing else. So we have to have a deep attachment to the goal. Yeah? So how do we attain? So this means shraddha. So basically we have to really strengthen our shraddha and understand where we are going. Because if we are just being part of something, but we are actually not understanding where we are going, then we will also not be very much attracted to the path. Yeah? For example, if I need to go to Loy Bazaar, I need to buy something. But I'm not so much actually interested to go to Loy Bazaar. So I'm not also interested to very strictly follow the road. I may go here, I may go there. So that road is not so much important for me. Why? Because the goal is not important. So if we want to actually stick to the path and become steady and attain the taste for a holy name, which is in this state of us a path. If we want to attain the taste for path, then we have to attain the taste also for attaining what is at the end of the pathway. And if we don't have that if we even try, okay, someone said, but I've been trying for 30 years and still I not have either attachment to the goal, nor attachment to the path, nor attachment to anything, I just don't have. Then it is always said, then you find someone who has that attachment and you serve that person. We may not have, and we may not be able to attain on our own, but we have to serve someone who has. So in that's actually the multiple benefit, because that will make us very humble. And what Mahaprabhu says, if you are becoming humble like this, then what happens? Then Kirtanya Sadahari. No? And how can you do Kirtanya Sadahari? Means constant chanting of the holy name if you don't have attachment to the holy name. So by being humble, natural attachment to the holy name will awaken. So that humility we will develop by admitting our low position, fallen position, that I have no attachment to anything, but I'm thinking that person has. I don't know actually how much that person has, but definitely has more than me. So I serve that person. I'll become humble. And by serving that person, I'm also attained some of his mercy, and he will bless me, and some good qualities of his will be bestowed upon me. So this is a very important thing. If we don't have something, we serve that one which we have. Someone doesn't have money, he goes to apply for a job, and he very much goes to the boss. Oh, boss, yeah. Why? Because he knows boss has money, and he wants money, so he gets money. So the same with some qualities. Of course, it has to be genuine. We just don't go and do. Genuine seva bhava has to be applied to that someone who has these amazing Vaishnava transcendental qualities. And we really need to see, it's not just something rubber stamped or something like a commonly say, oh, that big person. Maybe, of course, I'm not saying that big person does not have, but I'm just saying it's not a material external thing. Maybe the person sitting next to us also has very deep attachment to the holy name. So then we serve that person and we'll attain these qualities. Hare Krishna. Yes?
Hare Krishna Mataji. Please forgive me, I'm a bit nervous. Last 7-8 months I've been listening to YouTube in London. It's YouTube in Vrindavan, YouTube in London. While I was finished from work on the bus, I was been listening. So luckily I have come here live. I'm feeling like 100-time vibration here. I feel ISKCON in India, or Vrindavan, or India, is 100 times more vibration than in London. Unfortunately, I don't find it there much organized like in India. This is my view. Sorry.
It is always said that Vrindavan will give you 1,000 or 10,000 times of benefit of devotional activities. So that's why Srila Prabhupada wanted that all devotees come to the Mayapur or to Vrindavan once a year. From all over the world, they can preach hard and work hard and serve hard in their respective temples, which is also necessary, because if everyone comes here, then what will happen with a worldwide preaching mission? No? But once a year, if everyone comes here, they will come so inspired, and then they can go and live on that energy, on that inspiration throughout the year. So it's natural, your feelings are natural, it is bona fide, it is prescribed, it should be like this, and it's good that you feel. Hare Krishna, Mataji wants to ask something?
There is no time.
No time, okay, no problem. Okay, Hare Krishna, thank you. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki, Jai Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki, Jai Vrindavan Dham ki, Jai.